Hello, my name is Chris Nolan and I'm an astrologer. The theme for our webinar today, Thursday, April 3rd, is Neptune transiting the sign of Aries. Neptune is not alone. We have a lot of planets in the Aries, Pisces gateway. And Neptune has been transiting with Saturn for the last few months, and Neptune will continue to be conjunct with Saturn. We also have Venus in retrograde and Mercury in retrograde. They went forward in Pisces, forward through Aries, then they started moving backwards through Aries, and now they're moving backwards through Pisces. We also have the north node of the moon, and that is in the sign of Pisces. The north node of the moon only moves backwards. It just ended its transit between Aries and Libra, and now it is transiting Pisces and Virgo. And the north node of the moon determines where the eclipses are going to be. And so even though Neptune has started his journey into the sign of Aries, he's still conjunct so many powerful planets and astral bodies in the sign of Pisces in a very close conjunction. So we're going to talk about how these many planets and astral bodies in Pisces are going to impact Neptune and what the energy of Neptune in Aries is going to be versus the energy of Pisces. Let's talk a little bit about who Pisces is. Pisces is an intuitive water sign. There are 12 zodiac signs, and they are identified by the element that they are. We have earth and water, and they're best friends. And then we have 6 zodiac signs that are fire and air. And interestingly enough, all of our outer planets are shifting in a very tight amount of time, a very short amount of time. They're all leaving earth and water signs, and they're all moving into air and fire signs at the exact same short time span. And Saturn is really the great connector. We have these inner planets like the moon and Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. And then we have these outer planets, these generational planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And Saturn is in the middle. Why? Saturn does take 2.5 or 3 years to move through each zodiac sign. But the reason I say he's the great connector is because sometimes we can see Saturn with the naked eye, and at other times we do need a telescope to see Saturn in the sky. And so Saturn is considered an inner planet, and yet sometimes we cannot see Saturn. His transit in a zodiac sign lasts 2.5 or 3 years. And so Saturn is also going to be leaving the earth and water zodiac signs and moving into fire and air. And there's a big difference. The earth signs are very practical. They're very cemented in the 3D material world. Capricorn is the natural ruler of the 10th house of work. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is about material objects. It's about the food we eat. It's about the objects we purchase. It's about shopping, eating, smelling wonderful things. And so the earth signs are about the 3D practical material world, where the fire signs are more about action and the verbs in our world. And so air is about intellect and wisdom and ideas and brainstorming, and water is about intuition. So all of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn, are leaving the earth and water signs and moving into the air and fire signs. And Pisces is a watery, intuitive watery sign. Pisces is ruled by 2 planets. Jupiter, the protective big planet of expansion, luck, blessings, are great benefic in the zodiac. And it's also ruled by Neptune, one of the outer planets. And Pisces is dreamy and sensitive and emotional and intuitive, and it gets some of the energy, the caring, empathic energy from Jupiter, and it also embodies some Neptune qualities. And what are those Neptune qualities? I like to say that Neptune and Pisces are both spirit and spirits. What does that mean? Let's unpack that. Spirit is anything that you believe in that you cannot see. So it's God, goddess, creator, source, religion, all religions, all spiritual practices, spirituality. It's also about fog and mist and things you cannot see because it's obscured. Illusions, delusions, dreams, daydreaming, wishes and dreams. And it's also about escaping, running away. It's about a lie. It's about acting, pretending to be someone that you're not. It also rules acting like actors. For example, if you were in a movie or a play and you were an actor, you would be putting on a mask and pretending to be someone that you were not, right? Like, here I am, Chris Nolan, but if I'm in a play or a movie or a commercial, I'm pretending to be someone that I'm not. On one scale of polarity, that could be considered a lie. It also could be talented acting. And so there's this illusion, delusion, acting, actor element of Neptune and Pisces. And there's also an element of spies, right? Like people for a living have strong Neptune energy and they are spies, and that is their profession. They're protecting the country by spying. It's also considered very Neptune energy to lie or to steal or to commit a crime. It's also Neptune energy for all kinds of medicine, medication, alcohol, tinctures, healing modalities. And that could be like the most talented surgeons in the world, incredible doctors, people who invent cures for like polio and disease and vaccines. All of that is Neptune energy, but also heroin and addiction and pills and recreational drugs, all Neptune energy. And so you have to make a conscious choice, and we're all going to be making a conscious choice about how we use Neptune energy. We're going to see that in our chart, and we're also going to see the impact Aries has as we make these decisions about Neptune stepping into Aries. Now, spirituality, Neptune in Pisces could be meditating for long periods of time, right? Pisces in Neptune in his home sign of Pisces could be um, ayahuasca ceremonies or water rituals, where Neptune's stepping into Aries, which is leadership, risk taking, bold choices, impulsive, fiery energy, could be more about fire ceremonies or could be about sweat lodges or ecstatic dance or kundalini activation, breath of fire, martial arts. Neptune stepping into Aries is more about spiritual discipline. It's about embodying, especially with Saturn coming in, it's about working very, very hard for a prolonged period of time. It's about maybe practicing yoga, Neptune in Pisces, and then now that Neptune is in Aries, taking a long commitment about becoming a yoga teacher or getting a certification or a long-term commitment, because that's what Saturn does. And Saturn
think
is
my car's
if
doing
you
smoke.
just mute your Zoom, I would so greatly appreciate it. So with
Is
Saturn
it me or is it him?
transiting with Neptune and Aries, we're going to
See it?
have a commitment and
I smell it.
if you could just turn your microphone off, that would be greatly appreciated. So we're going to dive in. That was a very, very high level of Neptune moving into Aries. And I'm just going to review a volunteer list. I have Kat K from Wisconsin, Amber from Sacramento, Catherine Gerard from Lethbridge, Kate B from Hawaii, Mary L from Topeka, Riley, and Annalyn. And is Kat K from Wisconsin on the call right now?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Kat. Thank you for
I,
thank you for being here.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen, and if you can just confirm that you can see the screen, I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to click on settings and I'm going to pull up your asteroid so that we can really have as much detail as possible. And the first thing we're going to do, Kat, is we're going to identify your ascendant. Your ascendant is in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is currently in retrograde in the sign of Pisces. It moved through Pisces and into Aries, and now it's moving backwards through Aries and is back into Pisces. That is where the eclipses are right now. And so your ruling planet is going through a review, and your ruling planet is about to enter Aries. Why is this significant? Because that is where Neptune has just entered. And I'm seeing here in your chart that you have your natal Chiron in Aries. Chiron is in Aries right now, so you're going through your Chiron return. And your Chiron is in your 11th house of friendships, friend groups, wishes, and dreams. Let's just see if you have any other placements in Aries. You do not. And let's verify that your Chiron is in the 11th house. Yes, it is. So your 11th house starts at Pisces, and that is where Neptune, the planet of fog and mist, is going to be transiting for the next 14 years through your 11th house. So, what does that mean? That means you and your friends may be embracing more spiritual modalities. Do you currently do like spirituality classes, like yoga classes or meditation classes with your friends or your community?
Yeah, but I do a lot on my own too.
Yeah. So with Neptune entering your 11th house, that may be um, something that you do more in a community setting. That may be more group classes, more retreats. I have a yoga retreat in June. You could always join me on my yoga retreat. We're going to Bangor, PA. And that might be something that becomes more of an interest to you. That might be something that is a topic that becomes more curious. And also Neptune rules movies, Neptune rules photography. You might have an interest in photography or other Neptune areas. Now, Aries is about risk taking. Aries is about being brave and bold. And because Chiron is transiting through Aries and will be transiting for the next year, having Neptune there may clarify. Remember, because Neptune is the planet of fog and mist, and this Aries fire may be removing the mist, removing the illusion, and letting you really be able to deep dive into that Chiron wound. Have you been doing shadow work or working on some wounds from the past or going through a bit of a life review? Have you been
Yeah, that
feeling?
started a couple years ago, but yeah.
And we only have about a year left of your Chiron return. Your Chiron is at 9 degrees, so you're getting a little bit of separation right now.
Yeah.
Chiron currently, if you look on the left, that is the chart of the moment, and Chiron is currently at 22 degrees. So you're getting a little bit more of a separation from that.
Yeah.
So this may be a time of more spirituality or an interest in the other Chiron topics. The other thing that's important is that Saturn is coming in to join to join Neptune in the 11th house. And what Saturn does is it really builds structure. It builds discipline. Um, Saturn likes to follow rules. It likes to really cause delays. It likes to build structure. And with Saturn entering your 11th house of wishes and dreams and friend groups and community, it's really going to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, that your friends are treating you the way they're supposed to be treating you. If you are someone who's, with Gemini as your ascendant, you're probably able to talk to anybody and communicate with anybody. And you're probably kind and chatty and friendly to a lot of different people. And you could probably be friends with just about anyone in the whole world, no matter what walk of life they come from. With Saturn entering this house, your 11th house of Aries, and joining Neptune there, Saturn's going to be making sure that you're being treated in a respectful way. Saturn is also a very serious sign, and it's about mature relationships with respect. You could have some friends coming into your life that are a little bit older or have an expertise in a subject that you're interested in. Does that resonate? Are you starting to feel the shift of that energy?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah. And Saturn's been squaring like all my planets in my ascendant for the last like year or two. So I'm just like, get on into Aries. Let's
Yeah,
get move over. Yeah.
yeah. You really want that. I use the Placidus system, so we have Saturn already poking around your 11th house there. And Saturn in Pisces is spiritual discipline, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have I'm a sound healer, and one of the gongs that I play is the Saturn gong, and I really embrace the Saturn energy and I appreciate it because when we align with Saturn, and we're really forced to, when we align with Saturn, we end up being the best version of us in the highest timeline. And so in having Neptune enter Aries is really for me burning off all the illusions and seeing more clearly, choosing spirituality in a bigger way, a braver way, a bolder way. And it's really the spiritual warrior. One of the risks of having Neptune in Pisces is really appreciating the victim. And that doesn't happen when Neptune is in Aries. It's about bold leadership and speaking your authentic truth. And it really wants radical authenticity. Like no delusions, no illusions. Here I am. Here is my radical, authentic self. And that's really the best way to embody this Neptune and Saturn energy because Neptune and Saturn are going to be together for the next 2 years in that 11th house of Aries. And it's going to be ushering out your Chiron, saying goodbye to Chiron, and really bringing in the structure and demanding that the friends treat you exceptionally well. Well deserved. Well deserved. Does that resonate?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And with Libra in our full moon on April 11th, that's going to be activating your black moon Lilith and
Mm.
your Pluto. So we're going to have a little bit of a door closing. There may have been some transformation that has been happening in your fifth house while the eclipses were in Libra for the past 2 years. This full moon in Libra, remember, full moon is culminations. This may be a closing of that chapter. They may have been a long transformation of the last 2 years. We may be able to shut that book and close the cover on that book in your fifth house. Fifth house is creativity, new ideas, romance. There may be some culmination and some endings there, which is always a good thing. Sometimes
Yes.
it's nice to end a chapter, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you
Thank,
for volunteering.
yeah, thank you.
Amber, do I have Amber with me?
Which one?
Amber from Sacramento.
That's me.
Hi, Amber. How are you today?
Hi. Great. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm going to share screen. And can you just confirm that you can see my screen, please?
I can see your screen.
Fantastic. Okay, Amber from Sacramento, we are going to include all of the asteroids and we're going to identify your ascendant. Have you had your chart read before?
I've looked it up on myself. I think it's Virgo.
Yes, you're correct. Your ascendant is in Virgo. And your ascendant is here at 9 o'clock if your natal chart was a clock. And Virgo is one of the two planets that's ruled by Mercury. And Mercury also rules Gemini. Mercury is a quick-witted, anxious energy. And Virgo is the natural ruler of our sixth house of healthy habits and acts of service. And so with Virgo as your ascendant, you're going to be about practical things, details, organization, helping other people, and embracing healthy habits. Is that an accurate representation of the personality that you show the world? Have you been asked to help a lot of people?
Well, I'm a teacher's aide, so and I'm very into natural health and do like everything naturally, and yeah, so
And your Juno is there. Are you familiar with the asteroid Juno?
mm-mm.
So your ascendant is at 19 degrees of Virgo, and Juno is at 14 degrees of Virgo. So that means that Juno is actually in your 12th house of subconscious. Juno is our asteroid of attachment. Juno is usually associated with weddings and marriage and commitment, but truly it is about attachment theory. And that is your subconscious, your programming. And that is your 12th house is ruled by both Leo and Virgo. And Leo is one of the two zodiac signs that's most focused on responsibility. And so when Juno is in the sign of, in the 12th house that's ruled by Leo and Virgo, it's really a sense of taking care of other people, that is your hard wiring, that you take that responsibility extremely seriously. Remember, Leo is the queen of the jungle, right? And heavy is the crown. And so that is part of your subconscious hard wiring. So yes, Virgo is about helping people, but we also have to look at your 12th house, your subconscious programming, and that is about, especially with Juno there, attaching to that need to serve, right? The queen of the kingdom, and Leo is absolutely the queen of the jungle. They're responsible to make sure everyone is safe, everyone is fed, everyone is protected, everyone is healthy, right? That is your kingdom. Those are your people, and they're counting on you. And with Juno there in your subconscious programming, it's that times 100. Does that resonate?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just kind of feeling like trying to break the, I thought that was like a negative trait, like a rescuer, like it's gotten in relationships and things, and I've been working on, so that's part of my subconscious now. It's kind of confusing to me, like, I guess.
So now that we have identified that that's the hard wiring, I'm going to introduce a new concept. We have our North Node and South Node who have entered Pisces and Virgo, which is your ascendant. And then on the right-hand side here, you see descendant, DSC. It's the North Node and South Node have entered your Pisces and Virgo houses. That's your first house and your seventh house. Why is this important? Your North Node is in Pisces, and that is broad perspectives. And your South Node is in Virgo. South Node is where we're moving away from.
Okay.
So exactly what you said is the energy of the zodiac right now, and will be for the next 2 years. For the next 24 months, we're going to be moving away from the practical, the organization, the details. Remember, Virgo can be very, very, very focused on having the highest standards and doing it the very, very best, right? It's very hard for people with a lot of Virgo placements. And I have 4 Virgo placements. I have Virgo in the 12th house. It's hard for us to say good enough. And yet
Yeah.
that's where the South Node transiting through your first house of identity is going to say, good enough, you've done enough, Amber. You've done enough. You did well, and now it's time to punch out and go home and focus on self. And so that is going to be a major, massive shift for you. Massive shift. Does that resonate?
That's exactly what I've been doing. Yeah.
Perfect. And you
Wow.
will have started to have felt that at the end of 2024, and that's going to amp up since January 10th of 2025, and it's going to be strong for the next 2 years. We just had our first eclipse in Virgo this past March, and that is going to be hitting your first house of personality, and that's going to be shedding, 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 and saying, nope, this is me, this is my authentic self. Remember, we want to know ourselves better. And that's being really amplified because here in your descendant DSC, your seventh house of partnerships and relationships, we have Venus and Mercury moving backwards and reviewing. Who am I and how can people love me? Remember, Venus, it rules our fifth house. I mean, our five senses, and it's about how we love ourselves and how other people should love us, right? And Venus is transiting through Aries and Pisces, Aries and Pisces, Aries and Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. And Aries is about me, 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 me. It's about Amber. Who am I? And how should people treat me? How should I treat me? How can I put myself first? How can I put my needs first? We cannot give from an empty well. And so Venus, self-love, self-care, and feeding our five senses went through Pisces where it's exalted into Aries, the sign of me, 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 me. And now it's going backwards, reviewing. What makes me happy? What are my favorite foods? What is my favorite music? What are my favorites, my favorite artwork? What are my favorite hobbies? How do I want to love myself? And the way we care for ourselves, the way we love ourselves, is the way we're showing the world, this is how you treat me. If I put myself last, everyone else will do the same. If I give until I'm depleted, then everyone will do the same. And so this is a life review hitting your first house of self and hitting who is Amber, how do I love myself, and how should other people love myself. And this is being amplified because Venus and Mercury are going forward through Pisces and Aries, backward through Pisces and Aries, and then we'll move forward again. If you look here on the left, you'll see April 7th, this week, Mercury is stationing direct in Pisces and will go ahead and move forward through Pisces and into Aries. And then April 12th, in less than a week, Venus will station direct in Pisces and move forward through your seventh house and into the house of Aries. Both Mercury and Venus will go direct, and they're going to go over Saturn, the king of karma, hard work, neutral discipline, non-attachment, speaking your truth unapologetically, radically authentic. Here I am. This is who I am. The rules are different now, and sharing that information with other people with healthy boundaries. The seventh house is our relationship with others. And when we're really owning our seventh house the best, we have healthy, strong boundaries. And we're allowed to move those boundaries wherever we choose. We're allowed to change those rules whenever we want. And so these eclipses are hitting your first and seventh house, healthy boundaries, and the sense of self. And not only is Venus going to station direct this week, and Mercury, remember Mercury is information coming in, information processing, and speaking our truth with radical authenticity, moving direct and going through your seventh house of relationships with coworkers, friends, family, partners, but it's also going over Saturn, neutral discipline, and then the North Node, right? North Node, what our soul wants. And then stepping into Aries where Neptune is. Now, this is just a little bit of a sneak peek. Neptune is going to be in Aries for only 6 months, and then Neptune is going to go backwards into Pisces in your seventh house and then move forward again through Aries. This is a time where Amber is evaluating, who am I? Who am I? To clear away the smoke, the fog, the illusion, the delusion, and to really do inventory, self-inventory. They have those little surveys, right? Like, what are my favorite hobbies? Trying new things, really evaluating who you are. And once we really deep dive and we evaluate who we are, is to then share it with the world. And with Neptune in your Pisces and Aries, transiting back and forth over the next year, right? It's going to be January 2026 before he finally like takes hold and stays in Aries. Vivid dreams. Your dreams have messages. If you're remembering your dreams, there's a message and you're writing it down. Journaling. Please keep track of your dreams. Does that resonate, Amber?
That is like to a T. Like I have been hearing that like a message, like, who are you? Because I like channel and stuff for quite some time now. And I'm like, what lights me up? Like I'm on this mission to live in my true authentic soul's expression, and that's connected to what lights me up and move forward into my, I feel like called to something, you know, like my purpose, my dharma. Like this has literally been my mission, like my focus for the past like 2 years, year and a half, something like that. So that's incredible that that's in my stars. Like, wow.
1,000,000%. Yes. And the thing with Aries is that it's unapologetic, right? It's radically authentic, bold, taking risks, flying the freak flag, flying the freak flag, flying the freak flag. Remember, you know, you have that courage of a lion. You have that bravery. And with Neptune stepping into Aries, it's spiritual warrior. It really is. And look who's here in Aries also. I just want to point out two of the glyphs, well, three of the glyphs here in Aries on the right-hand side. Can you see my
Yeah,
mouse?
I can see the mouse.
So there's a little triangle on a popsicle stick. That is Pallas Athena. Who is Pallas Athena? Pallas Athena is our asteroid of strategy, and she's here at 7 degrees in Aries. That's extremely advantageous. And who's here at 1 degree of Aries, giving you the patience required. So Vesta is our asteroid of patience. So we're going to be kind to ourselves. We're going to evaluate ourselves. We're going to get to know ourselves during this 2-year cycle, our deep dive to know who am I, who am I, who am I. This is, you know, Amber at the year 2 years old, 12 years old, 22 years old, today, in 2 years, in 12 years. All of those versions of you are correct. And we're tapping into all of the wisdom. And then we're saying, who am I now? What do I want now? Where am I going now? And remember, Mars has been in retrograde for the last couple of months. He's stationed direct in the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is in your 10th house, your 10th house of career. So there could be also an impact to what you want to do for a living. Your sense of identity could be shifting, and your motivation, what motivates you in your job, in your career, or even a side hustle, could be shifting. The 10th house doesn't also necessarily have to be something that you're getting paid for. It can be a volunteer position, right? Like I have Virgo in my 6th house of service, and when I have Virgo in the 12th house and Pisces in the 6th house. And when the North Node entered that, I started feeling like I wanted to do more service. I wanted to do more service. It's not something that I'm getting paid for, but it's something that's very important and fills my heart completely. So the 10th house doesn't have to be like a career that you get paid for. It can be something that lifts you and elevates you and just lights you up. And with Mars stationing direct there, if you look here, Mars is only at 24 degrees of Cancer. But Mars in April, at the end of April, is going to be stepping into the house of Leo, and you're going to be getting a burst of energy. And so not only is the fog and mist of Neptune being cleared by stepping into Aries and giving you the patience to make this evaluation, not like what's happened in the past, but to take bold risks. But now Mars is getting ready to step into fiery Leo, and it's only going to fuel it more. And Saturn is going to give you the discipline, right? Saturn is going to step into Aries Memorial Day weekend at the end of May, and it's going to give you the discipline to really focus on this, the structure, the rules. It's going to be a really exciting time of changes. And we're letting go of giving, and depleting ourselves and putting ourselves first. I just want to say one more thing about Pallas. I know I've been chatting a lot about it, but Pallas Athena is our asteroid of strategy. Pallas Athena is victorious, always. And so to have all of these planets, Venus, Mercury, Neptune, the North Node, your soul's mission, and Saturn and Neptune, all transiting over Pallas Athena's strategy, you really are coming into your own victoriously.
Wow.
Pallas is not just strategy, it's victory. 2 words for you, well deserved.
Wow.
You see how all of those planets are aspecting your natal Pallas? You always have to use the asteroids. Not all astrologers use the asteroids. It's so important to use your asteroids. You need to be confident because Pallas Athena is there. Yes, you have Vesta, the side of patience, and you're a very patient person, and Vesta's also there, but you need to have confidence. Aries is going to give us that confidence, but you need to be twice as confident because you have Pallas Athena there, the asteroid of strategy and victory. Well deserved, Amber. Thank you so much
Wow.
for volunteering.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah,
That
really,
was
really exciting.
mind blowing. So,
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Catherine from Lethbridge. Catherine, are you with me this evening, please? I see that you're on the call, so I'm going to pull up your chart. You did email me and say that you wanted to volunteer. I hope that's okay with you, Catherine. It could be a mic issue, and let me just share. We are all going through technical challenges. Why? Because Mercury, the planet of communication, rules transportation and also technology. And so when Mercury is in retrograde, sometimes we have challenges with Wi-Fi, connectivity, our cell phones. Sometimes we have delays with our train or traffic or airplanes. It's completely normal. The last time Mercury was in retrograde, I got into a little fender bender. It's very common to have little technology glitches. So Catherine did ask me to do her chart tonight. And so I have brought up Catherine's chart. And Catherine is a Virgo ascendant, much like our dear friend Amber. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury in retrograde is impacting our sense of self. We may have misunderstandings or miscommunication. It's important, especially when we have a lot of placements in Mercury ruled houses, that's Gemini and Virgo, to double check our emails, to double check our text messages, and to make sure that we are communicating effectively, that the message we're trying to convey is being understood. That's like, you know, sharing information with someone and then making sure that your message gets understood emphatically. And of course, Catherine's midheaven, which is her career, is also a Mercury ruled sign of Gemini. You see up here, and that's where her black moon Lilith is. And so today we're talking about Neptune stepping into Aries. And it looks like we have Chiron in Pisces, and we have our Vesta in Aries. Neptune is going to be moving into Aries, where your natal Vesta is. Who's Vesta? Vesta is our asteroid of patience. You have your North Node in Aries. You have your natal Saturn in Aries. If you see here, friends, this R next to a planet means retrograde. This is relevant with Saturn in retrograde. It's also relevant with Chiron in retrograde. Our North Node of the moon always moves backwards, and so we do not say that North Node is retrograde because it only moves backwards. But Catherine's Saturn in Aries is going to be activated by Saturn stepping into Aries in May, and also Neptune moving into Aries this past week. We have the North Node in Aries, we have Saturn in Aries, and we have Vesta, the asteroid of patience, in Aries. And Aries is the ruler of our 7th house and also our 8th house. 7th house is our house of partnerships, and that is where Neptune is going to be first. Neptune is about spirituality, and so this could be something that you enjoy doing with a friend, with a partner. Perhaps if you were doing yoga or meditation alone, because it was transiting your 6th house of healthy habits, this could be something that you do with a partner or a new friend or a family member. And also it transiting over your Saturn. When Saturn comes home, we experience our Saturn return. Saturn return can be a challenging time where we do a life review. Remember, Saturn is rules, neutral discipline, non-attachment, structure, and challenges. It can be fraught with life lessons. And so the best cure for a Saturn return is aligning with the best version of you and making sure that your life is as radically authentic as it possibly can be. It's extremely, extremely important when we're going through our Saturn return to be absolutely honest with ourselves and honest with others. With Virgo as our ascendant, we could be spending a lot of time putting other people's needs ahead of our own.
Hi, Chris. Sorry, I am back. I just got a phone call.
It's all super good. It's all super good. Catherine, I was just saying that with a Virgo ascendant, you could be spending a great amount of energy helping others, or perhaps putting other people's needs ahead of your own.
And that's something that's happening right now. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I feel like my whole world is just dealing with her because she's going through some mental health issues and stuff like that. So I'm finding that I need to start taking care of myself because I'm burning out.
1,000,000%. And remember, your eclipses for the next 2 years are going to be in that 1st house of self and your 7th house of relationships. And the relationships in the 7th house are mother-daughter, you know, a parent, aunt, respected elder, and you and coworkers, you and friends, every one-on-one relationship. The way we treat ourselves is the way we treat we're teaching other people to treat us. And so with the eclipses activating your 1st house and your 7th house, this is going to be the focal point for the next 2 years. Does that resonate?
Yes, I can see that definitely. And my my North Node and my South Node were in Aries and Libra too. So I feel like I've been dealing with this for a few years.
Yes. So the 2 years prior and the 2 years forward. I'm going to explain why this is going to be helpful. Saturn, our king of karma, neutral discipline, non-attachment, rules, delays. He is going to force you to make some steady boundaries and rules and stick to it. There are going to be very massive challenges if you do not put your health, your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, make that a priority and make these boundaries, right? Saturn likes structure and boundaries. Friends, if you look here on the left-hand sign, you're going to see the zodiac sign and ruling planet, right? Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. And then on the right-hand side in the purple, you'll see that Saturn is exalted in Libra, the natural ruler of the 7th house of partnerships, and it's debilitated in Aries. Debilitated in Aries. Why? Aries can be impulsive. Aries can be combative. Aries could be take risks. Saturn doesn't want to take any risks. Saturn wants to think things through. It wants to follow the rules. It wants you to create rules. And so you are going to be forced to make steady boundaries and write rules and adhere to those rules with consequences. Saturn insists on being the best version of Catherine in the highest timeline with rules, boundaries, and consequences. Does that resonate?
Yes. Yes, it does.
This is not going to be easy. Saturn return is not an easy time, and you are entering your Saturn return. It lasts 2.5 to 3 years. This next 2.5 to 3 years is about Saturn's return, boundaries, rules, structure, discipline.
Yeah, I've already kind of realized that, like, just with all the things that I've been going on with my child, but also other things like my work and stuff like that, like that it all has to, I'm letting things go.
And with Mars transiting your 10th house of work, that has definitely been a focal point for the last few months. Reviewing. When Mars goes retrograde, it's been reviewing your 10th house of career, of work. And now it's moving forward. Now it's stepping into Leo in your 11th house of wishes and dreams. Community. But that this has been under scrutiny. Scrutiny is really the word for it. And, when we align with Saturn, we don't think about yesterday and we don't think about tomorrow. We think about right now. What is the best thing I can do next? What is the next best thing? What is the next best thing? And with Saturn return over the next 2.5 years, it can be a little overwhelming. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny you say that, because I was just saying that to my friend, that I can't be thinking about the future or the past anymore. I just have to deal with the right now, because otherwise I'm gonna go crazy.
So it's really aligning to only the next best thing. And you can just phrase it like this in an affirmation. What would the best version of me do next? And then you do that. Not thinking about anything else. What would the best version of me do next? What would the best version of me do next? Let me just share this with you, Catherine. When we align with Saturn, which you must during your Saturn return, when we align with Saturn, the rewards that you reap far exceed the rewards you'll get anywhere else. Like, everybody's about Jupiter and abundance and blessings and gifts. But when we align with Saturn and we just are the best version of us, what would the best version of us do next? The rewards are incredible. And so there will be a wonderful, amazing outcome. But it really is about thinking about just being in the now. That's not just something you're feeling. That's something your astrology is saying right now. This Pisces, Aries right here, your North Node, your Chiron, your Saturn, and your Vesta. Vesta is patience. I'm so glad that you have Vesta there. It's about being patient with self. Why? Aries is about me. It's about Catherine as a person, right? So if you lose your temper, we just say, that was a valuable lesson. Now that I know better, I do better. Now that I know better, I do better. And not allowing the inner critic in. We have all of our outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, all leaving Earth and water, all going into fire and air. And what does that mean? That means it's a little bit more combative energy. It's a little more fiery. And so if you're pushed and if you lose your temper, you must not let the inner critic in. Why am I saying that? Because air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, they all invite the inner critic in. They all are overthinking, 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 overthinking. And so if you start to beat yourself up, you must shut that down. One of the ways that we can manage the inner critic and manage overthinking is by tapping into that fiery energy of Aries, and also burning candles, burning incense. It's a very, very helpful strategy to really do
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
Does that
I was just going to do a fire cleansing in my house.
Amazing. Burning sage. I really, really like Palo Santo. Why do I like Palo Santo? Palo Santo is different than sage. Why? With sage, you must open the windows and let the energy in. So if I'm saging my house, both of my doors, my front door and back door, are open, and I'm airing out the house, airing out the house. Okay, with Palo Santo, you can burn your Palo Santo and you don't need to fly all the windows open. Palo Santo, Palo Santo, Palo Santo, Palo Santo, Palo Santo. When I'm a sound healer, I clean all of my gongs, all of my everything Palo Santo. Does that resonate?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for volunteering, Catherine. I certainly appreciate
Thank you.
it. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Chris.
it. And good luck with your Saturn return. Please come back soon, please.
Okay, thanks.
Is Kate with us? Kate B from Hawaii.
Yes.
Hi, Kate. How are you today?
Hey, good. How are you?
Thank you for volunteering. I really do appreciate it. Let me just pull your chart up and then I'm going to share a screen. Share. Hey, can you confirm that you can see my screen, please?
I can.
And I'm going to click on planets and asteroids, and I'm going to choose all the asteroids. I think earlier in the call I did specify how very important it is to bring in all the asteroids so that we get more data, more information in our readings. So here we can see that Kate's ascendant, and we see in our natal chart that 9 o'clock is where the ascendant is. The glyph is ASC ascendant. Kate's ascendant is in Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is currently in retrograde. When our ascendant is in retrograde, our chart ruler, our lagna, as we say in Vedic astrology, is in retrograde. We're getting a review, a review, a review, a review. And you may be going through a review of self. Does that resonate, Kate?
Yes, it does.
And Venus is retrograding in your 6th and 7th house of partnerships, the people that you are having a partnership with. This could be a friend, a coworker, a child, a lover, a family member. All of your relationships are being evaluated. That is where Venus is in retrograde. She's moving forward through Pisces, 5th house, 6th house, into Aries, and then moving backwards through Pisces. Remember, Venus is exalted in Pisces. She's very happy in Pisces. This is a wonderful time to tap into your intuition and to tap into your heart center and to say, what does my heart want? And then she's going to station direct on April 12th and start moving forward in Pisces. Right now she's at 26 degrees of Pisces, and your 6th house starts at 24 degrees of Pisces. So she's going to get close to your 6th house, but she's going to basically touch your 6th house and then start moving forward in your 7th house again. And your 7th house is your house of relationships. The way we love ourselves teaches everyone that is the way to love us, right? We are our own mirror. And Aries, of course, is the zodiac sign of self. The me, 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 me. And who is going to be in Aries? We're going to have Venus in Aries. We're going to have Mercury in Aries, and it's going over Neptune. Who is Neptune? Neptune is the planet of spirituality. It's the planet of dreams and fog and mist. And when I say dreams, I mean daydreams. Anything is possible with Neptune. If we can dream it, we can make it happen, especially now that Neptune is stepping into the sign of Aries. Remember, Aries is bold energy. It's taking risks. Aries can be impulsive. It can be combative, but with Saturn there, it's more about putting the time in and building the structure. It's about taking all of the classes and doing all of the hard work to build something that's long lasting. It's not as fiery or impulsive or combative as it would be if Saturn wasn't there. And of course, we just had our eclipses in Libra and Aries for the last 2 years. And why is this good? Because we've kind of cleaned house. We've kind of said for the last 2 years, how can we make things better? Our eclipses have been activating your seventh house, activating your seventh house, activating your seventh house. And so you've been doing the work in your first and seventh house already. And so now with Neptune coming in there, Neptune bringing more energy in, expansive energy. Remember, Neptune has no borders, no boundaries, and Saturn is the planet of borders, of boundaries. And so it could be a new realm that you haven't explored, something brand new that you've never considered. We talked earlier, and I'm going to repeat it again. Neptune is about spirituality, but Neptune in Pisces is about water ritual. It's about, ayahuasca and mushrooms. And, Neptune is the planet of drugs, and it's about meditating for long periods of time. And it's fog and mist and illusion. But Neptune spirituality in Aries is about fire ceremonies. It's about martial arts. It's about Qigong. It's about Kundalini, breath of fire, fire ceremonies. It's about physical movement. It's definitely about ecstatic dance, right? This could be a new part of your spiritual practice that you haven't considered. And it also could be about a new partner. Neptune is spirituality, and Aries and in your seventh house is about a new partnership that you're starting that will, because Saturn is building the structure, it's a 2-year Saturn transit. Saturn is going to spend 2.5, 3 years going through this seventh house of partnerships. It's a new partnership. Someone with expertise, someone older, someone that you respect, someone that has knowledge. Remember, Saturn is not a funny guy, the life of the party, right? Saturn is neutral discipline, rules, non-attachment, hard work. It is the natural ruler of the 10th house. Saturn also rules Aquarius. And who is Aquarius? Because Saturn, people forget that Saturn is one of the rulers of Aquarius. But Aquarius is innovation. It's new ideas. And who's in Aquarius right now, Kate? That is our dear friend Pluto. Pluto's just getting comfortable in the sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn. And what is Pluto's influence into this Aquarius ruled Saturn? It's rebirth, right? Saturn is, Pluto in Aquarius is making Aquarius energy more transformational, right? Stepping into your own. Pluto is, yes, Pluto can be very challenging because it is a rebirth, but it's also a realignment. And Aquarius, like Leo, is about serving the community. And so we're bringing in the Saturn energy, but Saturn rules Aquarius. Saturn is about making it better. It's innovative. It's about, yeah, that's the way we've always done it. But here's this breath of fresh air. And because Saturn, who rules Aquarius, is entering the seventh house of partnerships, there is going to be an innovative breath of fresh air. Does that resonate?
Yes, that's amazing.
So yes, Neptune is spirituality, but he's not alone. He's not in a vacuum. He's bringing your good friend Saturn in. And
Mm,
so there's structure and rules and discipline in this for you, for Kate, seventh house of partnerships. It's
yeah.
building something that lasts a long time. It's not impulsive or one and done and impetuous. It's building for the long haul. Does that resonate? That is unique to you because it is a seventh house transit.
Yeah, it really resonates. Thank you.
Yes. Is there any questions you have? I'm getting a question.
Mm. Um,
And you can take that offline. You can contact.
yeah, maybe I'll take it offline. Thank you, Chris.
So Saturn transiting into Aries is going to happen in May around Memorial Day weekend. If you
Mhm.
live in the continental US, your north node is there. So we're going to be hitting our north node with Neptune and Saturn. That is going to give you the discipline to align to your spiritual purpose, your soul's mission. North node is your soul's mission. So with Saturn transiting over your soul's mission, you are going to be pushed. I don't want to say forced, but you're going to be forced to align to your soul's mission. Why am I here? With Neptune in your seventh house of Aries going over your north node, that information might come through in meditation, through a vivid dream, through an Akashic records reading. I have
Mm.
a very talented Akashic Records person who works at Omega, who wrote a book on Akashic Records. Anybody that wants a referral, her name is Gloria. She wrote a book, Gloria Di Pietro. She is a published author. You can buy her book on Amazon, and she does one-on-one sessions through Omega in Rhinebeck, New York, and also online. So when we have Neptune spirituality and we're looking for confirmation about your soul's mission, with Saturn and Neptune spirituality going over your north node. You see, this looks like a horseshoe. That is your north node with those planets, Venus, Mercury, Saturn going over your north node in your seventh house of partnerships. We are going to be aligning to our soul's mission. So if you need clarity and it's not coming through in meditation or a vivid dream, you could always consider an Akashic Records reading. That's very Neptune. And
Okay.
taking control and getting the clarity you want is very Aries, bold, ownership, spiritual warrior, spiritual goddess energy. Does that feel aligned? Does that resonate?
Yes, it does.
Thank you so much for volunteering, Kate. I greatly appreciate your energy. I appreciate your trust in me. I really do appreciate you volunteering.
Thank you, Chris.
Is Mary with us? Is Mary here today? Dear Mary. Let me just check. Let's see if Mary can hop on. Riley, do we have Riley in class?
Hi,
Hi, is that Riley?
it is.
Hi, Riley. How are you today?
Okay, you?
Good. Providence, Rhode Island?
Correct.
I'm going to hit share screen, Riley. If you can just confirm that you can see my screen, please.
Confirmed.
Thank you. I'm going to choose the asteroids. Sirius is nurturing. Pallas is strategy. Vesta is patience. Juno is attachment style. And Lilith is our divine warrior goddess. And this is what your natal chart at birth looks like. You are a Pisces ascendant. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. This glyph here, this number 4, that is the glyph for Jupiter. So you have your chart ruler in the first house. That's extremely auspicious, Riley. Jupiter is our great benefic. Now, your sun is below the horizon. That means you were born when it was dark out, when it was nighttime. And so you also have a great benefic of Venus. Venus is in Libra. So your great benefics are Jupiter and Venus. You have your chart ruler in the first house of identity. And who is Pisces? Pisces is about spirituality. It's about being sensitive and emotional and empathic. Do you resonate with that as your personality? Do you have a lot of empathy and caring for others?
Depending on who they are, yes.
Yes, of course, of course. With discernment, I love that. And here, opposite your ascendant is your descendant. So your first house is Pisces. That means your seventh house is going to be in Virgo and also Libra. Remember, Libra is where Venus is, and Venus is one of your benefics. And who's here? Pallas Athena and your sun. You have your sun in Virgo. So we just had our eclipses for the last 2 years in Aries and Libra, and they kind of got your second house of Aries and your seventh, eighth house in Libra in check. And this is where Neptune is stepping into. Neptune is stepping into your second house in Aries. And your second house starts in Taurus. So it's cusping your first house and your second house. So with Neptune in our first house, we might be feeling like it's time to evaluate who we are. Who am I? You might be feeling it's time to do a life review, a deep dive. Who am I? Maybe the person you were a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. That's not the person you are. You're integrating your life lessons, the ebbs and flow. You're riding the waves of change, and you're figuring out, who am I today? Have you already been feeling that energy, Riley?
Yeah, in a way, it feels like my like previous versions of myself are haunting and taunting me.
Yes.
And then it's also hard because I'm stuck in a specific environment that like exhausted the haunting and taunting. So it's really
So
hard.
is there a switch on your home? Are you switching homes right now or considering moving or renovating your home?
I'm actually homeless. Um, so
So
I have one house.
let's talk about that. So your fourth house is in Cancer. Do you see how fourth house is in Cancer? Fourth house
Yeah.
represents home, and who is transiting your fourth house? Mars. Mars is our planet of action, courage, determination. It's about so Mars has been going in retrograde for the last few months. Mars went forward through Cancer and Leo and then went backwards through Leo and through Cancer. So there's massive changes, and you've just confirmed that you're going through a very major transitional period where you're trying to figure out where you're going to live. You've got a lot of questions having to do with your home. That is Mars transiting your fourth house of home. There's a lot of question marks, not many answers. Is that how you feel?
Yes.
So Mars right now is in your 24th degree of Cancer in your house of home. And he is getting ready to move forward and to get into Leo fire. Why is this very auspicious? Because Mars in Leo is going to have a lot more traction. Mars is miserable in the sign of Cancer. If you look here, my dear friend, Mars, if you look in the purple section, I have a list of the planets where they're exalted and where they're debilitated. Mars, action, courage, determination, is debilitated in Cancer. He's miserable in Cancer. And so you may have felt very unhappy because of all the question marks you have regarding your home. This energy is about to change dramatically. Mars, action, courage, determination is leaving your fourth house of home and stepping out and into the fiery sign of Leo. Who is Leo? Mars is much happier in Leo. He is so much happier in Leo because Mars is the red planet of volcanoes and fire. It's the fiery planet. And Leo is a fire sign. Leo is the king, the queen. Leo is responsibility. And Leo's also in your fifth house of fun. We're going to be a lot happier. We're going to have a lot more clarity. We're going to have a lot more responsibility, right? A lot more structure. We're going to have massive, massive changes. I know Mars comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. And April showers bring May flowers. By the time May gets around, we're going to have a lot different energy in your fourth house of home. It's going to feel a lot different. It's going to look dramatically different. Does that resonate? Is that what we're manifesting right now?
Does that also include like as simple as getting organized?
1,000,000%. So organized is traditionally your Virgo house, and your south node and north node of the moon just entered Pisces and Virgo. And look who you have here. Do you see this triangle in your on the right hand side of your chart? The triangle on an ice pop, that's Pallas Athena. So our north node and south node are going through your first house of identity and also your seventh house of partnerships, relationships with other people. And your eclipses are activating Pallas Athena, the asteroid of victory and strategy. We love when our eclipses are transiting over our strategy. It's about making good choices that lead to victory. You're going to have a much better spring. The last few months with Mars traveling backwards through your fourth house of home, very, very challenging few months. The energy is about to shift dramatically within, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks. And these eclipses, north node, south node, transiting over your natal sun, transiting over Pallas Athena, is going to be victory and optimism. Remember, Jupiter is our planet of protection. It's not just blessings and good luck, right? It's also protection. It's our great benefic. And what is the house of Aries? That is in your second house, your first house and your second house of value, self-esteem, self-worth, money, cash, possessions. All of this energy is going to be rising, 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 raising your vibrational frequency higher and higher and higher. I would say within the next 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to have a dramatic shift of energy. 2 words, well deserved. I'm so happy to hear that. It's going to be a very dramatically different energy. Good for you, Riley. I'm so thrilled to hear that. And who else is here? That's little
Thank you.
Mercury. Little Mercury is there. This is going to be a very, very good period. We've been going through a review, and now we're on an upward swing. Congratulations. Please stay in touch. I want to see at the end of April and beginning of May how much better things are. Very, 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 very thrilled to hear that. And thank you, thank you, thank you for volunteering. I really do appreciate it. Do we have Annalyn? Annalyn, are you on our call today?
Yes, I am here.
May I read your chart next, please?
Yes, I realized I put in Bremerton, Washington. Sometimes locators have Bremerton Junction as a option that's closer to my birth city.
Got it. I just pulled that up. Share screen. And I'm going to choose all the planets and asteroids as we discovered this evening, having the asteroids there gives us much more details. Have you had your chart read before?
I have a long time ago, just a general birth chart reading.
Terrific. So I'm not sure if you remember this or not, but your ascendant is in Sagittarius. Your ascendant is at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. And who is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is the archetype of the archer, but it's important to remember that the archer isn't just focused on the target with pinpoint accuracy. Sagittarius, the archer, is a fire sign. It is the natural ruler of the 9th house of intellect, of wisdom, of education. You're going to learn something every single day. You're going to learn something from every conversation that you have, every television program, every podcast, every interaction. You're going to absorb information. It's going to permeate your emotional body, your mental body, your physical body. Sagittarius is also the archer, right? Focused, very, very focused, but also with a keen intellect because it's a man, a woman on a stallion, also strong, able to, remember, what can a stallion do? A stallion could like cross a plane over 18, 20 hours and gallop and gallop and gallop and gallop and gallop. Very strong resilience. It's setting a course, setting a compass, setting a map, and going after it with pinpoint accuracy. It's the archer, but it's about strength, physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, and wisdom. Does that align? Does that resonate for you? Do you feel that in your personality?
I like physically, I feel like I'm strong. I like to go to the gym and I do something that takes a lot of physicality, like in a sport that I do.
A
But
million percent.
mentally strong, I don't know if that resonates. I have this Pisces moon that really makes me feel really emotional and not mentally strong.
100%. I that completely resonate. I do want to say Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and you do have your chart ruler in your first house. Let's just review the planets that are in your first house. Your first house is your physical body. So with Sagittarius brute strength in your first house, exercise is vitally, vitally important. We also say that is the case if you have Mars or Aries in the first house. First house is your physical body. It is good for your emotional health and your mental health if you're exercising. If you can't get out and you have to just work at a desk, it's even sitting in chair pose, right? With your knees bent, your back against the wall. It's very important for you to feel strong or do acts of strength when we have Sagittarius or Aries or Mars in that first house of physical body. First house is the physical body for everyone, and it's what we show the world. So you're showing people your strength. You also need to feel strong. Let's review the planets in your first house. Your ascendant ASC is at 2 degrees of Sagittarius. You have your sun at 7 degrees of Sagittarius. You have Mercury, the planet of communication, information in, information being processed, information coming out, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk to other people, and also the way we listen. With Sagittarius as the archer, we're very focused, which means you hear details. So when somebody's talking, you notice everything. You notice the non-verbal cues. You are perceptive of what's being spoken without the words coming out. Does that resonate?
Yes, it does.
That is an incredible skill. Not everyone has that. When we have Mercury in the ascendant with Jupiter in Sagittarius with the sun, you are very astute at, may I say, reading between the lines. That is a very important skill. So even though I'm saying this, you know what's really going on. Very, very important. Never doubt that skill. That skill is vitally important. Not everyone has that skill. That is one of your greatest assets, if I may say so. That is part of your personality. That is going to help you again and again and again and again and again. Very important. If that hasn't been stressed, I'm stressing it now. So you have Sun in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, the archer. You have Mercury, listening, communicating information in, and also your chart ruler, Jupiter, in your first house of Sagittarius. So that is your first house. That is your the personality you're showing the world. And then yes, you have your moon and Saturn here in Pisces. And your moon is at 24 degrees of Pisces and your Saturn is at 18 degrees of Pisces. That means your moon is at a 6-degree orb with Saturn. Do you see that? And your IC is here and it's at 24 degrees of Pisces. So your moon in Pisces is on your IC, inner world, inner child at Pisces. So I'm going to be very, very clear with you right now, my dear friends. Saturn at 18 degrees Pisces. IC at 24 degrees Pisces. Moon at 24 degrees Pisces. Pisces is an emotional, sensitive sign. I see inner child, it's your inner child. That is the 4-year-old version of you. A 4-year-old version of you who is emotional and sensitive needs to be cared for. We need to, I have this picture of me on my computer screen. It's me as a little girl. You must have pictures, at least one picture of you as a child in a place that you're going to see every day. If not, make it your screensaver. You need to talk to yourself as though you were a 4-year-old girl. If you wouldn't say it to the 4-year-old version of Annalyn, you do not say it to yourself. What is super challenging for you, my dear, is that Saturn is there. And Saturn wants rules and discipline and structure. And, you know, Saturn, you clean your house, Saturn comes in and says, you didn't bleach this. We don't say that to a sweet 4-year-old girl, do we? It's quite the yin yang energy, right? The sensitive 4-year-old emotional girl needs to be nurtured. And Saturn's in there and say, you could do it better, you could do it better, you could do it better. We must take care of our inner child. We must take care of that sensitive and nurture that sensitive child. Does that resonate?
Yes, it does. That's something I've been neglecting.
You absolutely need a picture of you at 4, 6 years old, and it needs to be prominent. We must take that inner child and treasure her and cherish her at all times. You're doing an amazing job. You're going to take the inner critic and you're going to put him on a cruise ship and send him to the Maldives. Thank you so much. I know you want what's best for me, but I don't need you right now. Absolutely not. You're doing an amazing job, and there is absolutely no room for the inner child. You take that inner child every time he shows up and you say, get on the cruise ship, you deserve it. You're going on a long cruise to the Maldives. You can go to Morocco, you can go through the Panama Canal, you can go anywhere, but he does not reside in your head anymore. That is the end of that. I will not have it, my friend. Promise. Inner child, cruise ship, Maldives, gone. Never, ever, ever, ever again. Saturn is so good at making us the best version of us. He may not beat you up, not one more time. Never, ever again. Promise. So you have Aries. This house, Aries, is in your 4th house. Who is your 4th house? This is where Neptune is, and this is where Saturn is going to be. Saturn just went through a return. So this last 2.5 years have been very, very challenging for you. He's going to let up. He's going to move into the house of Aries, and that is your 4th house. When you have all of these planets activating your 4th house, we are going to be reevaluating where you live. This could be a physical move from one place to another place, or it could be redecorating your home. It could be changing roommates. It can be a change. It can also be something that you do differently. With Neptune stepping into your 4th house of home, you could be photographing your home. You could be doing photo shoots. You could be doing a blog or filming something in your home. Remember, Neptune is for acting and actors. It is about spirituality. You could be doing yoga videos or meditation. You could be doing something in the home. And Saturn is going to be transiting your fourth house of home for the next 2.5 to 3 years. You're going to get a highlight of what this Neptune and Saturn transit through Aries is going to be between now and fall, because in October, Neptune is going to be moving backwards into your third house. The third house is traditionally ruled by Gemini, the social and chatty planet, ruled by Mercury. And third house is also like short distance, like from your house to the coffee shop or your house to the gym. It's also the house of siblings. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have two, an older and a younger.
Yeah. So Saturn transiting your third house of siblings may have been a changing dynamic with siblings, let's say, for the last 2.5, 3 years. So Neptune is going to be leaving your third house of short distance travel and communication and stepping into your house of home. Are you considering a move or redecorating or doing something different in your home than you have before?
It crossed my mind, silly enough, like to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Saturn entering Aries in May and Neptune there, it can be reevaluating that move and maybe considering that move come May or through the summer. Again, it's a 2.5, 3 year period. You don't have to do anything immediately, but it may be coming up. Good for you. Wonderful. I'm so happy for you. Good luck. No matter how it turns out, good luck with that. And thank you for volunteering and thank you for listening to me. I really do appreciate all of our volunteers. And last on the volunteer list is Mary. Is Mary with us? Perhaps you have a mic issue because that's common in Mercury transits, or perhaps you're going to be listening on the video. Let's pull up Mary's chart and hit share screen. And we're going to be including for Mary all of the asteroids, the descendant, the IC, which is our inner child and our inner world. And we can see here that Mary is an ascendant in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is currently in retrograde in the house of Pisces, which is in your 10th house. And Mercury is in retrograde in Pisces with Venus. And we are transiting over Jupiter in Pisces. And let's see our asteroids, Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Terrific. Now, we do not have any natal planets in the house of Aries, but we must remember that whether or not we have planets in a house, it's still being activated. So we have our 10th house in Aries, and that is the house, our 10th house is being activated by Neptune stepping into Aries, and then in May, Saturn stepping into Aries. And of course, in the next few weeks, Mercury is going to station direct in Pisces and move forward in Aries. Venus is going to station direct and move forward in Aries. And so this is going to be our focal point for Neptune, yes, but also for Saturn. And Saturn is going to bring discipline, perhaps an element of spirituality, since Neptune is the planet of spirituality. And 10th house is the house of our career. It does not have to be a paid position. It can also be a volunteer position or a position within our community. It could be organizing a block party or being on the library committee or being part of the women's club. It can be anything where we're being noticed by people in and around our community. It doesn't necessarily have to be our career. But this is the house that's being activated by Saturn for the next 2.5 to 3 years. Now, Neptune has entered the house of the 10th house of Aries, and Neptune will be there until October. Then Neptune will be moving backwards back into your 9th house in Pisces, and then it will be going back and staying in your Aries house until 2040. And again, what is Neptune? Neptune is the planet of fog, the planet of mist. And when Neptune is in Aries, we allow that Aries fire to burn off the fog, to get some clarity and to take risks and to be disciplined with Saturn there to build structures. And let's just take a look. What degree? Yeah. So this is hitting your 10th house and also your 11th house. So the 11th house is friend groups, communities, as we were talking about, and it's also wishes and dreams. With Neptune entering our wishes and dreams, our 11th house, we may be having dreams we never considered before. And this could be daydreams, things that we're thinking about or fantasizing about. And it can also be when we're sleeping and messages coming through in the dreams that we're having. These can be things that never occurred to us before, never, ever, ever before. It can also be friends that we've never met before that are coming into our life because your Aries is hitting your 11th house of community and friend groups. This could be new friendships. Now, with Saturn entering our 11th house, we talked about this very early on in our webinar, but Saturn is going to make sure that you are being treated properly. Why do I say that? Saturn is discipline, neutral discipline, non-attachment. It's also rules and delays. Saturn rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is the natural ruler of the 11th house. So you could say when Saturn is transiting the 11th house, Saturn is home. So Saturn is going to make sure that you're being treated the way you should be treated. What does that mean? No one's going to take advantage of you, or if it is, there's going to be firm boundaries. Remember, Saturn is the planet of boundaries. Saturn strongly prefers boundaries. Why is Saturn debilitated in Aries? You can see here in the purple section, Saturn's debilitated in Aries because Aries can be impulsive. And Saturn doesn't want to be impulsive. Saturn wants to make review and build structure that's long lasting. Saturn wants us to put the time in. It doesn't want you to be fast friends with anyone that you haven't really taken the time to get to know. Saturn is going to be, it's going to stop the impulsiveness of Aries if that resonates. And of course, Mary, if you have any questions about Saturn and Neptune entering your 11th house of friendships and community, wishes and dreams, you can always reach out. So does anybody have any final questions? Any questions for me about Neptune or Aries or about any of the transits that are happening right now? Just to review, we have Sun in Aries for 2 more weeks. We have Moon in Cancer. So if you currently have a natal moon in Cancer, you're going through your lunar return. We have Mercury stationing direct in Pisces this week. We have Venus stationing direct in Pisces this week. We have Mars in Cancer finishing this long, long, long transit in Cancer, finally stepping into Leo where he'll be so much happier. We have Jupiter finishing Gemini. Yes. What is your question, Annalyn?
Oh, I have a question on my natal chart, how this transit will affect me. I have a stellium in the first house, which I think is Aries, and then I have Aries in my south node. I kind of don't know what that all means for me.
Let's pull it up. And it's past 8:30, so if you've had your chart read or we've talked about Neptune and Saturn transiting Aries enough, thank you for coming, and I really appreciate your time and energy. I appreciate all of the volunteers, and please have a good evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Annalyn, do I have your consent to pull up your chart again?
Yes, you do.
So I've pulled up your chart, and we are touching on your north node. Because your north node is in Libra, your south node is in Aries. The south node is where we're leaving, and the north node is where you're heading towards. Your south node is in your fourth house of home, and it's in Aries. What is Aries energy? Aries is the natural leader of the zodiac. If 100 people were in the woods and everyone was looking at each other, it would be Aries that would take the machete and say, "Follow me," and he would lead everyone through the jungle, through the forest, and pave the way. Remember, Aries is the archetype of the ram. In medical astrology, Aries rules the crown and the forehead. And what does a ram do? A ram takes its horns down and it is bold. Aries is ruled by combative Mars, the fiery action, determination, leadership. But Aries can be impulsive and Aries can be combative. With Aries in the fourth house, there may have been competition at home during your childhood. Does that resonate with you, Annalyn? Was there a combative nature? Did you say you have siblings?
Yeah, more with my parents, I guess. My siblings.
So there could be so because Aries is ruled by Mars and Mars is the god of war, there could be arguments or conflicts or even healthy debates where two people had different opinions and they had to hash it out. And this could be done in a very eloquent, graceful way or a combative way. Remember, every zodiac sign has strengths and challenges, and a healthy debate can be a very healthy thing. But Mars can also be hand-to-hand combat, right? It can be two people clashing swords. It could be war, right? The Aries Libra axis is about peace and war. It's about justice. It's about treating people unfairly and treating people fairly. And so again and again and again and again with Aries and Libra, we are making a choice and everything is free will. Does that resonate?
It does. I think it kind of worries me that I have such a strong first house, yet my south node is in Aries.
So the south node is where you're leaving. It's what you're leaving behind. So it could be that in the past, if you believe in past lives, people say your south node is your former past life, that you were a bold, combative leader who really wanted like my way or the highway. And that is what you're leaving behind. What our focus is in this lifetime is our north node. And your north node is here. Let me just check the degrees. Your north node is at 24 degrees of Libra. Now, I do degree theory, and I can assure you that Libra at the 24th degree is using Pisces energy. What is Pisces energy? Intuitive. And what is Libra? Libra is about treating everyone fairly. And with Pallas Athena there, you see this triangle on a popsicle stick?
Yeah.
That is the asteroid of strategy. Let's just check the degrees. So you have Pallas Athena, your asteroid of strategy, at 16 degrees of Libra. And you have your north node, where your soul is meant to be heading, at 24 degrees of Libra. That is an 8-degree orb, and that is a close enough orb to be considered a conjunction. Conjunction is when there's a collaboration between two or more planets. And you have 3 planets here in Libra. Vesta, that is our asteroid of patience. Vesta at 18 degrees and Pallas at 16 degrees is a 2-degree orb. It's a tight conjunction. You also have Chiron here at 11 degrees. That's 4 placements in Libra. North Node, your soul mission, if you choose it. Chiron, the asteroid of wounds we must heal to feel and then heal in others. Vesta, our asteroid of patience at 18 degrees of Libra, and Pallas Athena here at 16 degrees of Libra. And Libra is the ruler of, it looks like your 10th house. You have everything in your 10th house. Yes. So your 10th house of career is in Virgo. Do you have a career where you're helping other people, or you have to be very organized and practical and detailed?
Yes, and social work.
Yeah, so there you're absolutely helping everybody, and there needs to be lists and documentation, documentation, documentation. Does that resonate?
Yes, even though I'm not good at it.
And so the other thing is that it's very, very important with your soul mission there, and it related to your MC midheaven, that you treat everyone equally. That can be a little challenging in social work because there may be cases that are more dire that you really feel pulled to. And yet with Libra as your South Node, you must treat everyone fairly. That must be a push and pull on your heartstrings. Does that resonate? So with Vesta here, you see how Vesta is in Libra at 18%, at 18 degrees, and Pallas is here at 16 degrees. This is a very tight conjunction between patience and strategy. Patience and strategy. Those two skills, really being patient with self so that you can be patient with others. Does that resonate? Being kind to ourselves and patient with ourselves. And again, not beating ourselves up. I like this mantra. Now that I know better, I do better. Now that I know better, I do better. Now that I know better, I do better. The challenge with having so many placements in Libra, Libra is an air sign, and Libra invites the inner critic in, and it invites overthinking. We must burn away the overthinking. We must burn away the air. We must send away the inner critic again and again and again and again and again. We must not let the inner critic take any mental energy. We have to block him from our mental chatter. Very, very important with so many planets in Libra, with so many planets in air sign. Does that resonate?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And if that feels challenging, then we light incense and we light a candle and get one of those big 6-wick candles and burn the candle. Burn the candle, send the inner critic away. Is that a little bit more clear?
That is. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. So the last thing I want to share is about Jupiter. We just started talking about Jupiter. Jupiter's last few months in Gemini is going to be especially fortuitous. Why? Jupiter spends about 1 year, 13 months in a zodiac sign. Jupiter will be shifting signs, leaving Gemini and moving into Cancer this summer. Why is this amazing? Because Jupiter is exalted. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So we are about to have a very, very, very fortuitous and abundant few months, 18 months. So from now, April and May, through the summer, Jupiter's going to be giving gifts in the house that you have Gemini in. We talked about this, I think, 4 or 5 months ago when we did an astrology webinar. It is on YouTube. You can review that. The house that you have Gemini is where Jupiter is going to be giving you gifts and abundance. And then he's going to be stepping into the house of Cancer, where he is exalted. And so that house of Cancer that was just reviewed when Mars was transiting, going forward through Cancer and Leo, going backwards in retrograde through Leo and Cancer, and now stepping forward in Cancer. Mars is going to leave Cancer now that it's cleaned up that house. And Jupiter's going to be stepping into Cancer this summer, where he'll be bestowing very, very, very many, many, many gifts. Why is this wonderful? Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and he's our great benefic, our protector, and he bestows blessings and gifts and abundance. Well deserved. So this has been our astrology webinar on Neptune and Aries and also Saturn and Aries. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for spending time with me. Again, thank you so much to my volunteers. We had Kat, Amber, Catherine, Kate, Mary, Riley, and Annalyn. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for chatting with me, and namaste. I will see you again soon. I'll send the recording out as soon as possible, as soon as it's uploaded. Have a terrific night.